This is VSiN, the sports betting network. This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
All right, back here kicking off hour 2 on Money Moves live in downtown Las Vegas Circa Resort and Casino.
Thanks for joining us.
What do you mean?
You're furiously typing while we're coming back from break. Let's go. Focus up.
And yet, I was ready to go until you rudely interrupted me. That's
Focus
Jonathan Von
up.
Tobel, by the way. Stormy Buonantony here.
Did you miss me?
Thanks for hanging out. I did until just now. Then, we got back to reality real quick. Did want to remind you, for a total that was bet up in Omaha from 12.5 to 14, we just got our first run on the board in the top of the third a moment ago. West Virginia with a 2-out RBI double against Troy. We'll keep tabs on this as we go. Georgia and Texas also set to get underway a little bit later on in the evening. But from an early pitcher's duel to the pitch we go, because the World Cup rolls on as we speak. We're about to have France and Senegal go head-to-head, the first of 4 matches on deck today across the country. France a minus 205 favorite, Senegal 6-1 dog. Draw price, as we know, we got all 4 of these yesterday, plus 360 your price.
Yeah.
Seeing some love on the over here as well. 2.5 on the total from minus 130 up to minus 145 right now.
So you and I have similar thoughts here. We bet it differently, I believe, at least, as we're about to get started. I went over 2.5 for this matchup here today. That was minus 130.
I did both teams to score, for reference.
The BTTS, as they put it. So we're in a similar mindset. Look, France has the offensive capabilities, I think, to go after Senegal. Senegal is actually a top 15 team, but from what we have seen from them, defensively, they have scuffled quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And so I would expect that France is able to get theirs and that Senegal being competent enough maybe to add on and help us get over the total here. Also, you can get a 3-0 win from France to get you over the total, too. I thought minus 130 on over 2.5 against Senegal, from what I can gather in terms of the way they've played defensively, could get there. So that is how I played it.
Yeah, this Senegal team is not a pushover, should be the most difficult opponent that France faces in the group here. So I don't get the vibes that France is going to walk all over this team. Again, as you said, I played the both teams to score even money, plus 105, plus 110, depending on where you look. Those are the prices that I saw out there. I also bet so this is the problem with me with the World Cup, because I'm not somebody who goes into these things and just automatically knows all about the world's game the way that other people do. I have to do my own sidebar research. I'm also a vibes person, so I just kind of bet with my heart a little bit and have a little fun on some of these things. So before I did any research on this game, I've been so high on France, and I have futures on them, right, to win the whole thing, on Kylian Mbappe for the Golden Boot, various ways that I have bet on France already. I was like, I'll lay -1 with France just in general. So that's not one of my best bets here. It's something that I just threw on before I researched it, and then I found out more about Senegal, and it's like, crap, they're actually pretty good. So I went with the both teams to score angle. Would love both of these things ultimately to come through for me, but the research play is that one. I'm excited for this.
Pig-headed American, just assuming that Senegal is not a good football team.
It's a classic. However, you look at the talent disparity here, and we did just officially get underway. Kylian Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, all these guys are so good. The talent on paper. But again, I did bet. My favorite bet actually of the tournament on France was plus 130 for them just to make the semifinal. They are, by the way, your standalone short shot now following the Spain 0-0 draw yesterday against Cape Verde. Plus 425, I believe I just saw a moment ago.
Yeah. So we can get to those other games because they don't kick for a little bit, but you mentioned it really quickly. The way that this has played out, I guess you would call it, wouldn't call it a chaotic day of action, but pretty wild. Second time in World Cup history. Yesterday, first time in exactly 68 years. There were 4 draws in a single day. The numbers, like you mentioned, Cape Verde 12-1, Belgium, Egypt was 3-1, Saudi Arabia, and you say it properly?
Uruguay.
Yeah, okay, I like it. Plus about 3-1, and then Iran and New Zealand at plus 230. So you did get some there. And then I saw this from our friends over at Polymarket. Somebody had put $1 million on Spain to win their match.
Well, someone also put $400,000 on Spain not to win. I think the account, we talked about it yesterday, Fish Alive, that paid $4.7 million.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just
there we go.
Redonkulous. But I had somebody.
By the way, I would have gone Uruguay.
So speaking about the pig-headed Americanness, I was reading this thing on the Athletic earlier today about the upset, and it's even though it wasn't a loss for Spain, having a draw like that against a team like Cape Verde is an upset, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said it, 12-1, 13-1, the price is out there on it. The Athletic had a comp for us pig-headed Americans to better understand what happened there. And they're like, imagine an SEC juggernaut facing an NAIA team and they tie. That's what this feels like, essentially, when all is said and done. And it's like, okay, yeah, that puts it in a good mental frame for me.
I think, did you have the numbers in front of you? Because we were also talking about this. Soccer can, at times, mirror that of the stupid sport played on ice known as hockey, because statistically, Spain did dominate that game.
Yeah.
In the draw. And so, like, I know expected goals for were floating around 3. The shots, everything, possession, accuracy of passes. That should have been one where Spain probably comes away with the very least a victory instead of a draw. But at times, these sort of things can happen.
The shots were 27-6. They dominated possession 75%. You also think from a country standpoint, Cape Verde's population 82 times smaller than Spain. Spain had the most touches, passes, and passes completed in the attacking third in a single World Cup match, JVT, since 1966, and their goalie is 40 years old.
Yeah, that was the other part. The 7 saves from him or around that number. That was a big reason why they were able to pull this off. It was pretty wild. Second
most since 66 by a player in his 40s. So, again, all of that just kind of craziness. I also saw this report in terms of how much the World Cup is getting bet this year. Last World Cup, obviously, 2022, legalized sports betting. Still, I think fair to say relatively on the rise compared to the way that it's advertised now and how many people have apps on their cell phones in 2026 compared to 22. Research from Ehlers and Kraychek Gaming have estimated more than $4.4 billion is going to be wagered in the U.S. alone, significantly up from the $1.8 billion in 2022. And then Dan Singer, head of McKinsey & Company Sports and Gaming, told the New York Times the amount of money could reach the level of 8 to 10 Super Bowls.
Yeah, man. It's going to be fun. Like, this should be fun. And even today, there is some interest. I mean, we have some really big favorites on the board. Norway on the three-ways minus 475 or thereabouts. Argentina's over a $2 favorite. I didn't want to copy too much of what you've got going on, but I like your tact here with Norway potentially. The way that you decided to handle this, I think, is a pretty good one from a betting standpoint.
Well, I'm sure that you've heard and consumed a lot of the same content I have. Norway's kind of been a dark horse in general in the tournament that people have really liked. Led by your boy, Erling Haaland.
My gold boot selection.
Yes.
Need him to get it going here today.
I saw he's minus 185 for an anytime goal, by the way.
Yes, yeah, minus 185, and then some pretty minuscule prices in comparison to where they're usually at for first and last goal today, too.
Yes, but I bet Norway over 2.5 goals, plus 105 was the price there. Over 2.5 for the full game is minus 165, yet Iraq's team total is a half a goal, and it's juiced minus 155 to the under. Yeah. So essentially, it feels like you're getting a better price on the same bet to me, and it's a significantly different price. I'd also prefer the team total over 2.5 than laying 2 with Norway at the same price, just in case they do score, right? So that's kind of the angle that I've taken on this. I found it pretty interesting and kind of cool, though, that on a day that France, who is your favorite, and Argentina, who's your defending World Cup champ, and we have the star power, right, of Mbappe and Messi and all this stuff, that Norway was our biggest favorite of the day.
Yeah, well, and they've been playing really well. And the offensive upside, not only just from Haaland, but the team as a whole, one would expect they should be able to pour it on here today. So that is one that I was kind of sniffing around. Actually, was probably going to bet the same thing you did, but I was like, we can't just have them rolling in here being that simpatico.
Can't have a team play on soccer.
No. So I did.
Although it worked out last time for us with Mexico.
That is true, but you copied me. I get all the credit.
I copied the Poly Market better who won $1 billion a day. Okay, that's not literal billion, but millions of dollars the day before.
I had already bet it at a very similar outcome and price, too. I will say this. There's a couple of other ones I was messing with, like Norway, like 3-0 victory, like the exact score. That I think was near 6-1. So they just played some fun stuff like that for that matchup, because I do think there should be a lopsided victory for them, and hopefully my guy Haaland can get some goals here and get on the board and start to carve into that market for the golden boot.
Did you have any thought on Argentina, Algeria? That's coming up a little bit later on as well, Argentina, that is, begins their cup defense. I know a lot of questions about Messi today. He's been crushing it at MLS, but dealing with a hamstring injury. He's approaching 40, right? Like, what does he actually look like on this stage now?
I didn't have much on this one. This one, I think, is the one that I'm going to be really interested to watch the most of. Obviously, what we know about Argentina, yes, but I felt more confident in these two teams, these two sides that we were talking about, France and Norway, to win by margin. And look, Argentina on the three-way is a $2 favorite, so they should be able to comfortably get this thing done. But maybe more akin to what we watched with Mexico in the first one that we saw and sat here, like a 2-0 victory for Argentina, commanding everything, but still potentially going under the total. That was kind of what I was dealing with here, but had more confidence in going out there, maybe finding some spreads or some big victories for the other two sides that we've been discussing here.
Algeria, that is not particularly good from what I understand, should struggle to score against the back and midfield of Argentina. Both teams to score no was minus 165, but the total goals for Algeria was set at a half a goal, minus 115 to the under. So maybe if you do think it's a shutout type of a score, that could be an angle that you play it. The nightcap, or World Cup After Dark, as I've called it now, at midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific. What?
There's a show, I believe it's hosted by...
Is that what they're calling it?
Who's the chubby blonde British guy? James Corden?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Like he hosts that.
Is it called After Dark?
I believe that's what it's called.
No way. That's funny.
I was watching it yesterday and I lasted 3 minutes.
I was just thinking Pacific time zone, and we always call like Pac-12 After Dark or whatever After Dark, that window. But Austria and Georgia in that one, Jordan, in that one tonight at Levi Stadium. Are we allowed to call it Levi Stadium, even though they have to have the cover on Levi? I did think that's an interesting wrinkle because in FIFA you can't have the sponsored branding for your stadiums.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So it's actually genius work by Levi's.
They put jeans on it?
They've covered... No. They covered the Levi's part of the stadium, all of the branding. They have then made that image their image on all of their social media platforms and everything. So they're branding it as that. And then even inside the stadium, they've put little covers on all like the condiment, like all the Heinz stuff isn't Heinz anymore. It's all redacted brand name essentially. So they've made Levi's a bigger brand by taking their names off of everything. It's very smart. We got to step aside here on Money Moves. When we come back, one other wrinkle to the World Cup I'd like to discuss, and we're looking ahead to the futures markets in the NHL and NBA for 2026-27.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
2-0 West Virginia on Troy in the top of the fourth as we welcome you back here to Money Moves. Still 0-0 in the about to be the 12th minute in the World Cup as we begin day 6 of World Cup action. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you back here at downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. And before the break, we were breaking down all things World Cup, and I've only gotten about 20 seconds of your actual opinion on all of the Europeans in America. I personally think it is one of the funnest things ever.
Why are we presenting it like this?
No.
I think it's great when other cultures come to our country, Stormy.
No, this is my point. That's what I'm saying. Why are you taking it that way? But I think it's been so cool to see all of these videos about people exploring some of our stuff, like seeing what a Buc-ee's is for the first time and losing their mind about the barbecue being done and going, why do we need so many gas pumps at the gas station? It's kind of hilarious. And experiencing Chili's and a cheese pull for the first time, or seeing that chips and salsa just get plopped down on your table when you arrive at a Mexican restaurant. It's been so cool. And yet Dustin Sweetelson yesterday on the show was not having any of it.
I mean, I didn't really hear what Dustin had to say. I kind of understand I think the Japanese one that you're talking about with the chips and salsa was very clearly written by AI and that person is fake. But outside of that, yeah, there's probably some truth to the fact that there's some Europeans coming here and experiencing things. I mean, I'm sure you did something similar when you went to Japan, right?
Absolutely.
You were amazed by all of the different things that you weren't really used to here. So I think there's some legitimacy to it. Is there a legitimacy to the actual accounts that are out there and getting some pub? Maybe, maybe not. I think a lot of life is about getting social media traction, so there's sure some of that. But yes, do I believe that there are Europeans and Asians and all sorts of folks that are coming from their different countries and being amazed by what is being offered here. Sure.
It was the Freddie in LA one in particular that Dustin really didn't believe in. But all of he said anytime you see something good or something like this on social media, he defers to that it's paid for, that it's branded, that it's sponsored, that it's paid influencers, and it's not real.
I mean, I don't want to go down this path, but I will say that they're all amazed, and everything that they're amazed by is based in the gluttony of American society.
Which I also find hysterical because, as we know, everybody hates on Americans and calls us all fat and calls us all these big. If you were eating this food all the time too, you would understand why we go through what we go through because they all are loving it.
It's not getting forced down your throat.
No, but the point being is that everybody's like, it tastes so good. This is so this and so that. Like that's why it's hard for us sometimes out here. We're trying our best. What?
Nothing. I like this conversation. It's hilarious.
You're ridiculous. All of that to say.
I'm glad we're having it.
We'll keep tabs on this score as we go. I know you were frustrated that France wasn't having a lot of
I don't mind. I've got over. So if Senegal can score here, but just thought it was interesting that we have every time I've looked up, I've not seen a lot of possession by the French. Les Bleus. I have not seen it.
Do you think with the way that Spain's game went yesterday that just tacks on additional pressure for a team like France who's now in the driver's seat?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, because if you watched with half a brain, you mentioned all the statistics. Also a key player short too for Spain. I think a lot of it was pretty well explained. So I think you're feeling okay if you're France. I think the result is meaningless to you in that sense for the most part. And by the way, as you put the comp out there, as we put on social media, what is this in NBA terms? You did the college football terms. Yeah. The Senegal is actually a respectable opponent here too. Not that I don't want to say that about the Verde, but I would just say that this is
the Verde.
I would say that this is a tougher matchup than what Spain went through. Thus, this would be a little bit more explainable if this ends in a draw for the French.
All right. Now that the Knicks and Hurricanes have their title, I think a natural question is what's next. Two teams that ended pretty lengthy droughts, obviously, with Carolina. It's been 20 years since they were able to lift a cup. For the Knicks, even longer. Going back to 1973 since they were able to have that honor. Parades, by the way, coming up this week for the Knicks. It'll be Thursday. For Carolina, I believe we're looking to Saturday. We did get some more NHL news today for the Vegas Golden Knights, who just lost to Carolina in the Stanley Cup final. It is official. John Tortorella will not be coming back as the next head coach for the 2026-27 season and beyond. I know there have been a lot of rumors that it would be Ryan Craig, who is their head coach of the AHL Henderson Silver Knights here in town. He was a longtime assistant for the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't know if that's to be the case or not, but that's been rumored.
You'd be more educated on this considering you used to work for the team, but that does not seem like a Vegas Golden Knights move. They are generally a team that I think seems to gravitate toward, not for this reason, but for lack of a better term, I'll use it, making a splash, getting
pushing
a name,
for the big name, doing the big offseason acquisition, whatever it is.
And I know in certain circles he is established in the way that he has come up in his career as a coach, but they seem to be more of a team that gravitates toward, let's get the big name retread and let's see if that works out for us. Didn't really for Tortorella. I know they made it to the final, but I think he deserved more criticism for the way that he handled that the whole way.
We'll see if he gets another job, too, or if he goes back to media, ESPN, different things like that. I know he clearly wants to coach. This was a unique opportunity that he was able to get with Vegas. I agree with you, though, especially when you see the stark comparison to what Rod Brindamore does, making the change, and how Bussy essentially saves the day for Carolina.
The bod.
Rod the bod. We played that video yesterday. It's incredible. But for Vegas to then have the same opportunity in front of them and have Aiden Hill on the bench and then not make a move when clearly it was an issue is interesting.
You know me, we talked about it. I said it 1,000 times, said it with Jonathan Davis was here, all these sort of things, and just kept questioning why you didn't talk about Carter Hart the same way you talked about Freddie A. And I mean, credit to the bod, man, because you go out there and just say, no, screw it, dude. Like, we've got a championship to win. Yeah. Get out of here. Quite literally, because they scratched him. But I will say this, because you said this to me, we were talking about this, and this should be pointed out. Like, Bussy was fine, and he was really good in the final game. They turned it completely back on. Yeah. Whatever was happening in those first few games, that got completely erased, and Carolina was just back to the team that was limiting shots, not giving up good looks, and was just sweltering on defense. I thought it was wildly impressive watching them.
That's what I said to you was, regardless of the goaltending situation, you still have to score goals. And when you go through a 30-minute stretch and only have 2 shots on goal, it's wild, not a recipe for success.
Was it at one point 18 without one, right?
It was, I think they said like 76% of the third period or something like that, a little bit more. They went without a shot, period. So not ideal, to say the least. But with that, moving forward, and you look at the odds board for next year, Carolina, after not being able to do this thing for 20 years, is your favorite at the top of the board to repeat. Granted, it's in the 7-1 range. Your President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche second on the board. Obviously, things fell apart for them against Vegas, getting swept. The Cale Makar injury, Nathan McKinnon getting dinged up. But they'll both be back. Martin Necas will be back. Jared Bednar, we learned recently, will be back coaching this group. Then it gets a little bit interesting where you look at the Tampa Bay Lightning and beyond at double digits. Edmonton 11-1, who they need a new head coach as well. We'll see what they ultimately do in goal, because the same thing held them back this year.
Tortorella.
That continues to hold them back. Well, it's looking like Mike Babcock, which doesn't make a ton of sense. So we can dive into that a little bit later on. We'll try to get an NHL guest I know that we can discuss this with, as well as the NHL draft coming up next week. But the Florida Panthers as well, though. So it's the Panthers and Oilers that both played each other in the final each of the 2 previous years. Florida obviously doesn't make the postseason at all this year. They dealt with so many injuries. Barkov missed the whole year. Matthew Tkachuk missed. I think he only played, around 30 games. Brad Marchand, same thing. So it's one of those things where they're going to, for the first time in forever, actually have a full offseason that they haven't had in 3 years, right? Because they lose to Vegas and then they win back-to-back. So this past year, they actually are going to have a full time to rest and recuperate and figure things out, although in net they might have something to figure out as well. Sergei Bobrovsky is a free agent, and so that's going to play a whole nother layer too when we get to July.
By the way, small oddity, the Stanley Cup has been hoisted quite a bit here in Las Vegas since, right? I mean, 2 teams have won on ice against Vegas, and then, of course, Vegas itself won.
I can't remember. I saw somebody tweet some stat about that, about how irregular it is that it's been lifted 3 times on the city ice here in Vegas. I can't remember what exactly it is, but yes, very interesting. I had a lot of people ask me if I was going to Game 6, and I was like, no. We knew what was going to happen there.
Oh yeah, we did. I will say this, because we threw up these odds. If you want to throw them up again for the Stanley Cup final, Stanley Cup champion from last year, I like the way that this is FanDuel, that they have priced this as opposed to DraftKings. DraftKings has the Golden Knights at plus 850. They're 14-1 here. Yep. I think that's more accurate. As you well know, they're a little bit of an older team. We saw the way they scuffled through the regular season. Feel like you probably feel pretty good about the goaltender situation. Carter Hart's going to be their guy moving forward, but I think that that's a little bit more accurately priced. And I know they need a head coach, and I know we always talk about goaltending, but the Oilers stick out at double digits if they decide to address the goaltender in any way, shape, or form. And I was going to ask you in the last minute here. I mean, you and Mike were talking them up quite a bit, and they made a little bit of a run. Minnesota, are they going to be able to be this good again? The wall of St. Paul?
It's just, they're so frustrating that they continue to not get over. The woulda, shoulda, coulda Minnesota has to feel. The woulda, shoulda, coulda the Dallas Stars have to feel. Those are 2 teams that have just got to be very, very pained by having to face each other as early as they did in the playoffs this year, which again goes back to the format at large. And this is something that it looks like Gary Bettman wants to continue for a while. So we'll see. To me, I was looking more to the Eastern Conference and 2 young teams that made the playoffs that you didn't see on that front page of your board, right? Montreal and Buffalo, they are young, they are building. Is that something that maybe one of them could take another step, and you're getting pretty decent prices on both of them? I know Buffalo, you got to figure out what's happening with Alex Tuck, but the expectation from what I'm understanding is they're probably not going to be able to reach a deal, so you do have to backfill that spot, which is tough. But I think actually, I know it's not fun to put money on the board at this part in the offseason, but if you're trying to look ahead to teams that could be contenders again next year, I think there are some options at pretty decent prices. We got to step aside. When we come back, first look at the U.S. Open. Taylor Zaraour is going to be out there at Shinnecock tomorrow. We will discuss it all next.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It's U.S. Open week as we we welcome you back to Money Moves on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Lots to cover as we preview another major tournament coming up this weekend. Excited to have Taylor Zaraour join us here on the Progressive Guest Line. In addition to all the work with ESPN, SEC Network, Titans play-by-play, he is out at mandatory minicamp right now. Also does work for Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio. You're not busy enough, Taylor, are you?
I get tired just listening to all that. Yeah, but, I mean, come on. 12-year-old Taylor would say this is pretty awesome. So I'm very blessed and excited, but I'm not sleeping very much these days, Stormy. But pumped to be here at Titans minicamp and then make my way out to Long Island tomorrow.
Are you mentally preparing for what will likely be a bumpy ride for the flight landing, given the wind situation out there in the Shinnecock area?
Yeah, I've packed a lot of different layers for this trip, and as usual, probably overpacked. But we're expecting 40-mile-an-hour winds tomorrow afternoon there in Southampton, New York, and on Thursday, sustained 30-mile-an-hour winds throughout the day with rain in the forecast. It's a beautiful forecast for the weekend, but it's going to be quite dicey. The elements will be a big factor. I think a lot of people that are watching or listening to us right now like that, though. They like that the U.S. Open is diabolical and it's as hard as it gets in championship golf. And I'm here for it, too. I think that, for a day or two, that's fun. But I also, over the weekend, expect the scores to be pretty low and the boys to take advantage of sunny, calmer conditions.
So we know, Taylor, that this is obviously a very challenging course. Brooks Koepka won here back in 2018. He was 1 over par. What makes this course so challenging, and what are some of the changes this year that are being done to the course that might alter the way that it gets played?
Yeah, I heard Brandel Chambly say that it's kind of like if Augusta National and St. Andrews were going to have a baby, Shinnecock would be what they would have. It is a combination of undulated, slopey greens that don't have a lot of flat areas in them. So if you miss those greens, it's really hard to access the greens from around the green. Chipping is extremely challenging. I think it's the hardest that you'll ever see in a big golf event. And then if you miss the fairway, you're going to pay a huge penalty because you're going to be in very thick rough, and chances are you're not going to be able to advance your ball to the green. So there's a big penalty for missing a fairway or missing a green. Now, that's the case at a lot of different events. But on top of that, how exposed this golf course is, Tony, you're right on the Atlantic, and there aren't really any trees that are guarding this property. So it's high winds that you have to navigate against. On top of, if you miss a fairway or a green, there is a huge penalty. Having said all of that, I think it is the toughest major championship test we have in this country, whether it's the PGA Championship, the Masters, or the U.S. Open.
Taylor Zaraour joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line, going to be out there on the course for PGA Tour Radio this week. Scottie Scheffler is your favorite to win it all, going to try to complete the career Grand Slam. Hasn't won, though, since the very start of the PGA Tour season. And he's looked a little off in some areas, right? The putting has been very inconsistent. What are your thoughts and expectations for the favorite entering the U.S. Open?
Yeah, last year he was as big a favorite as he's ever been, back to like Tiger Woods type numbers, plus 350-ish going into the U.S. Open last year, which he did not win, but he was a massive favorite. This year, I don't know what you're looking at right now, but I think it's probably plus 550, 5.5 to 1, somewhere in that range, which is still double the best odds over Rory McIlroy, but it's much closer to the field than Scottie Scheffler has been in the last couple of years. I think the big reason for that, Stormy, is his approach to the green has been different this year than it's been the last 4 years. He's still the best player in the game. He's still finishing in the top 20 in the event. It's not like he has fallen apart or fallen off, really. It's just a bit worse than it was last year. He's not getting anywhere near as close to the hole from the fairway as he was last year. In fact, he's outside the top 100 in a stat that a lot of players pay attention to, and that's proximity to the hole. On average, he was inside 30 feet, inside 20 feet last year. Now he has much longer putts for birdie this year, and I think that that's really the big key for him this week is controlling his approach shots into the green. If he's able to do a good job of that, he has a great chance to win the U.S. Open because of him possessing all the other traits that he does. And I really think we're going to see the best of Scottie Scheffler this week. He's so used to being in conditions when things get tough. He seems to be able to control his golf ball and turn in the best score possible. I think there's a really good chance that he's going to complete the career Grand Slam on Sunday, which happens to be his 30th birthday. But it is interesting that his odds are, closer to the field, I guess, if you will, than they were last year.
I know a name that might be pretty popular just given what he did when they were here last time in the U.S. Open. Tommy Fleetwood finished runner-up, had a very strong Sunday, set a course record on that day. Do you expect that he can have some similar successes out here at Shinnecock this weekend?
He's one of the first people I would think about because of his ball flight. He keeps it under the wind. He hits a ton of fairways and greens. What Stormy just said about the putter is one of the things that I wonder about with Fleetwood. He's won one tournament in the United States. The guy's a top 10 machine. He's always around the leaderboard. But I just don't know when the game is on the line if this guy trusts himself to make the putts that he's got to make. He won the Tour Championship at East Lake last year, but again, that's his only American victory he's ever had. For a top 10 play, hammer Tommy Fleetwood. For winning the tournament, I'm a see it to believe it guy, and I need to see Fleetwood cross the line in some of these tournaments more frequently before I'm ready to say he's going to win it. But he's absolutely going to be around the leaderboard. He's one of the most consistent players in the game.
Taylor, I love that. That's the way you put it, because I was looking at the top 10 price around 2-1, and all I was thinking was Tommy Fleetwood will break your heart if you're betting him outright, but boy, can he climb that leaderboard. Right. And so that's exactly the way I was looking. Can you share with us some other names, though, and maybe skill sets that you think can really fit and match up well with this course over the weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a couple here. So Russell Henley is one of the 2-3 best ball strikers in the game. He is a fairway finding machine, and he's somebody that I would expect to have a really good chance in this event because of just how accurate of a player he is. And he's in good form. He's been playing well, and he won just a few weeks ago on the PGA Tour in Fort Worth, Texas. That's one name to watch. Another guy I like a lot is Maverick McNeely. McNeely is turned into one of the 50 best players in the game. He's an excellent putter. He's a brilliant guy. On top of that, he is a science major from Stanford. His father has made hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. He's a well-read guy. He doesn't seem to be that impacted by his surroundings, maybe because there's not as much pressure on him as maybe there is some others in the field. But he's a really good putter. So I think the combination of Henley's ball striking and McNeely's putting, I think, could serve both of them well this week.
Will we see somebody get so frustrated that they hit a moving putt like Phil Mickelson did back in 2018?
His birthday today, by the way. How about that? That guy gave us so many thrills, and there's been some really some terrifying reports that have come out about Phil in recent weeks, and you hate to kind of hear what's going on with his life these days. I'd be shocked if something like that happened. That was a real shame and a bad look for Phil 8 years ago that he did that. But it also, and not in defense of Phil, but the USGA lost the golf course, Tony, 8 years ago. They set up the greens that were way too fast for those windy conditions. There's no way that the people that are running the USGA now are going to let that happen this time around. So no. I don't think that we're going to see them go to the line or threaten to cross the line like they did 8 years ago. Having said that, because of the conditions on Thursday, I still think you're going to see some really high scores and some frustration, but that's going to be some frustration with Mother Nature, not necessarily with the United States Golf Association.
We've only got about 30 seconds before we have to let you go, but I am just curious, how's Cam Ward looked so far at minicamp? Anything we need to know coming out of Titans World?
He is so pumped, Stormy, to have three big targets in Carnell Tate, Calvin Ridley, Wan'Dale Robinson on this roster this year. Ridley was hurt most of the year. To have all three of those guys, business is about to pick up for the Titans. He does look good. He's totally healthy, and he is pumped for training camp, and so am I. But I need a little break between now and then.
That would be nice. Yeah, we are a very pro Titans, pro Cam Ward program, yep. So that is good news to hear. Let's Taylor, go. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate you, buddy. Travel safe.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Taylor Zaraour, everybody. Again, you will catch him all over PGA Tour radio on Sirius XM this weekend, but does great work calling, just about every sport that you can think of, honestly, on ESPN, SEC Network, and of course the play-by-play voice for the aforementioned Tennessee Titans. We need to step aside here. When we come back, we're closing out the day already. First show back. Did it feel like it went by fast or slow?
It did. It went by very quickly.
Beautiful. So maybe you're happy to see me after all. Your silence is deafening.
What's coming up next?
We'll be right back. Best bets after this. We'll update some of the scores for you as well, one of which I am not loving so far. We'll be right back.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
On this Tuesday edition of Money Moves, as we welcome you back, Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Had a good conversation last segment with Taylor Zaraour of PGA Tour Radio on Sirius XM, breaking down the U.S. Open. Beginning Thursday, conditions are going to be tough, course is going to be tough, but did say he really likes Russell Henley as a potential contender. Didn't shy away from Scottie Scheffler either, potentially completing the career Grand Slam. He's been so close so many times this year. Could this be the one that he gets over the hump on? Tommy Fleetwood, top 10, also available at some decent prices, which did remind me, we do have our Splash Sports High Stakes U.S. Open Challenge live now, $500 to enter for a shot at $100,000 guaranteed. And it's pretty cool. You pick 6 golfers, one from each of 6 tiers, top 5 scores count, worst golfer gets dropped. Lowest score wins, though, so it's all about finding value across the board, not just stacking favorites. Multiple entries are allowed. You can build out different lineups. Do whatever you can to increase your shot, right? It's $100,000 as your prize right now. New players using the promo code VSIN, VSIN, are getting a 50% deposit match up to $100, a free Quick Picks entry up to $20, and a 100% Quick Picks payout boost on an entry up to $20. So lots of stuff that you're getting alongside with this. Sign up now at splashsports.com. Again, use that code VSIN. Remember, you got to be 21 or older, must be present in select states. See site, though, for the full rules and details. Again, splashsports.com, code VSIN. We do have a couple scores to update as well, JVT.
Look, we're still scoreless between France and Senegal. We're in the 43rd minute right now. France with the lead in possession, but Senegal with the only big chance that has been generated, the only shot on goal. We also had another shot on goal for Senegal that hit the left post. Couldn't get in there. So Senegal's been getting some chances. France has a save on its docket, so they have been getting pressured a little bit here, but they are in the Senegal end, and we'll see if they can get something here. I think they have a set piece coming up, too, after a free kick, too. So let's get some scores. That's what we need. You have both teams to score?
Yes, I was going to say we might as well just pull up the best bets now because you, as you mentioned, are on the over in this match, 2.5. These are official plays given out earlier this hour before the match began. I have France and Senegal, both teams to score at even money, and I'm also looking ahead to the Norway-Iraq game, over 2.5 on the team total for the Norwegians here. And from a pricing standpoint, too, like this is a game that I think / hope could just be a 3-0 type of a game in favor of Norway, especially with the way that their offense and offensive talent can deliver in this spot. But I thought it was interesting that the over 2.5 for the game specifically was juiced to high heaven, -165. Yet you look at the team total specifically for Iraq, -155 to the under a half a goal. Yet you're getting, again, +105 on Norway's team total over 2.5, which just feels like a very similar bet in my brain to the full game over 2.5. You do get a little bit of that that added benefit, sure, if Iraq does score in this spot, but I think Norway should be able to have not a ton of issue as a near $5 favorite to win this game and score it well.
Sure. I like it. Nothing for me that I added today. Oh,
you do have to recap, though, from before you left.
Okay, so we'll hit the recap if we have it, but I'll just list it off really quickly. So the finals bets, Karl Anthony Towns finals MVP does not get there at 22-1, but despite the fact that he did not play particularly well, our boy De'Aaron Fox ends up leading the series in assists, so we cashed that one pre-series bet.
That's putting it kindly, by the way.
What's that?
Didn't play particularly well.
He didn't play particularly well, but De'Aaron Fox gets there, and so too do the Carolina Hurricanes, -1.5 games, +130. The stank does not, but you know what does not stank? The smell of the kitchen at Barry's. It smells wonderful. And I cannot wait to go down Now, here's the question. Because for those who don't remember, Stormy now owes me berries. I have now bested her twice in the 2 Stanley Cup final in which we have been show partners on. We have had show bets in both. Do I run it up? Do I get a bottle of wine? Do I get something? Or is there a cap on what I can do here? I'm a nice person. I won't run it up, but still,
I was
look
going to say,
forward
I'm not going to cap you, but I would be I'm very curious to see how you would take that.
You know, I mean, as mean as I am, you know me. I probably will get an appetizer and call it even. I'm a nice guy.
Come on. You don't need to be that cheap a date. You can have some cocktails. You can have a little fun. It's all right.
It's on the record.
It's
on the record.
I'm not cheap. I'm fine with it. The debt needs to be paid. I am a firm believer in that. We are also up, by the way, 2-0. West Virginia over Troy in an elimination game, bottom of 5 right now. So still a ways to go for a game, though, that the total got bet up as high as it did, all the way to 14 and juice minus 120 to the over. Yep. 2 runs scored so far in the bottom of 5 innings. Pretty surprising for most.
Yeah, considering what the thought was here. But, these things can also open up in a blink of an eye. So we'll see if that actually starts to happen. As far as bets, I will say this. So, by the way, check it out at MeJVT, at Mitch Moss Radio. We both tweeted it out. Newest episode of Pod of the Futures is out.
Yes.
I did add a wager live on the show, although I guess it's recorded, so it won't be live. But while we were on the air, so Mitch and Paul have the intro to, sorry, Luke, what is it? In Pocket Place. Thank you very much. And they have the clip from Kevin from The Office, who says if you're given 10,000 to 1 odds on anything, you take it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, there were 10,000 to 1 odds out there on something, and I took it. The Utah Jazz versus the Charlotte Hornets NBA Finals exact series matchup. That's it. I don't need anybody to win it. I just need the Utah Jazz and the Charlotte Hornets to meet in the NBA Finals, 10,000 to 1. I sent you the ticket yesterday.
Yes, I know.
I sent it to both you and Justin. You were busy. You weren't responding.
I laughed slightly because I think I told you this. My husband and I, when we were watching the NBA Finals, we were sitting there watching the games unfold, and he goes, I just realized that Charlotte's never going to be here.
Nope, they will.
So
next year.
You're a believer, which I love. And listen, we were a very pro Charlotte Hornets team. I think a lot of people at the network were, right? We were very
look at that.
pro.
There they are.
Very pro Charlotte Hornets this year. But the Utah Jazz element of it, I think, is very interesting, that you really have high hopes for what this team can be, especially the way that they've added.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be great. We can throw that back up if you want real quick,
adding in the draft.
Because these are all the futures, so we're going to start to keep track of these so we can have all of them. I have a full other one of Major League Baseball, but this is what we're talking about. So Jazz to win the Western Conference, 150 to 1. Mitch and I went halvesies on that together on Sunday. We were talking about that in my account, though, so I can pull the rug out from under them and never give them anything. Jazz Hornets NBA Finals, 10,000 to 1. Darren Peterson, first overall pick, plus 340. DeBonsa, third overall pick, 25 to 1. The NHL stuff, we'll have to get into this a little bit more tomorrow. Gavin McKenna versus the field, number 1 overall pick. I took the field at plus 360. That's not looking so hot. And then I'll have some write-ups on these. Tua Tagovailoa, MVP, 150 to 1. Jacob Rodriguez to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, 25 to 1. I'll write that up too. We talked about that actually on Pod of the Future, so maybe we can bring that up tomorrow. We'll pull that. We can discuss it in the National Football League. And then sweating out Erling Haaland, the Golden Boot, at 12 to 1 in the World Cup as well.
This is a good reminder as well. All of our picks, not only our show, but every single show host and guest selections up at VSiN.com each and every day. When you're a VSiN Pro subscriber, you get unlimited access every single day to the picks page, to the articles, to the prop tools, and right now we've got our early bird special going on. Remember, $175 gets you the access to everything from now through the Super Bowl. So every day you wait, you're not getting as good a deal. So make sure you sign up while you can, VSiN.com/subscribe. And as we discussed with Adam Burke on the program earlier as well, the NFL betting guide is coming out in less than a week. This thing is dropping. You're going to get the look ahead to the entire season. You can't get the NFL betting guide a la carte. You have to be a full-time VSiN Pro subscriber to get it. We got to do your preview at some point this week too for the division that you're writing up.
Yes, writing up. Already submitted. Thank you very much.
Wow. Look at you.
AFC East, the deadline was yesterday, so we could talk about that. But all of that be damned. These last 2 minutes, a momentous day here at Fremont Street. Do you realize what today is that we just missed an hour ago right behind the backs of our crew out there on Fremont Street?
What?
Today is the day that they moved the Sigma Derby. So for those who don't know, Sigma Derby.
Do we have the videos?
Is it out there? Yes, he's Sigma. Good job, crew. It's gone. You see, this is I believe this is Bar Canada, right?
The fanfare around it, they were having little people that were going to be like as a part of the festivities
with the Shetland ponies and everything like that.
That's awesome.
It was marched down Fremont Street. So now it will take its new place out there at the Golden Gate. For those who don't know, I do like to play the Sigma Derby. It's a yearly thing. I like to go on my birthday and just hammer away.
And it's so fun. Obviously, we did shows out there for the NCAA tournament that were out at Bar Canada, and that is a staple of it. There's always people around it no matter what. And so I know they're trying to get a little bit more of a draw over there at Golden Gate for certain things. So that'll be a fun thing for them to have. But we will miss it at Bar Canada.
We also have to go. We have to go down there. I want to get the exact promotion right here, but there is a lot going down at Golden Gate on like a daily basis. That Night Starts Here promotion that they have is absolutely tremendous, where you can go out there, get a little bit of free play, open bar from 6 to 7. Absolutely tremendous. So, and now it gets even better with the addition of the Sigma Derby.
Yes, sir. Okay, that is a wrap for us today. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. Good to have you back, JVT. Dream team for the whole week. Stick around. They'll follow the money coming up next. Mitch and Paul will be back, and hopefully, as they're holding on to and keeping track of all of these live games with you, we get some more goal scoring here. 0-0 at the half once again for France and Senegal. We need a little more of that action.
What do you think of this shirt?
I think you look great. That's a great color, great shirt. I don't know why people are tweeting mean things to you.
Okay,
I would never say.
That guy's ugly anyway.
Have a great day, everybody.